Future Vision Study Center, Salem.
எங்களோட வீடியோஸ் உங்களுக்கு பிடிச்சிருந்தா லைக் பண்ணுங்க, ஷேர் பண்ணுங்க, கமெண்ட் பண்ணுங்க. மறந்துடாம சப்ஸ்கிரைப் பண்ணிட்டு கூடவே இருக்க பெல் ஐகானை கிளிக் பண்ணிடுங்க. so that எங்களோட வீடியோஸ் உங்களுக்கு மிஸ் ஆகாம வந்துட்டே இருக்கும்.
Today we are going to see legal control methods. We have seen lot of methods to control insect pests: physical, behavioral control, mechanical control. Among the lines, this is called as legal control methods. In this case, we are enacting some legislations, or we are enacting some laws to prevent the insects entering into our country. That is called as legal control. That means the main crux of this legal control is preventing entry. That means preventing entry of foreign pests into our country and the establishment of foreign pests. That is called as legal control. Preventing entry and establishment of foreign pests. And one more thing is, the main crux of this legal control is eradication and suppression of pest established in an area. That is the main important thing in legal control. That means whenever there is a pest, it was entered into the country and it was settled in a place, means we have to eradicate by enacting some compulsory legislation and or by enacting some rules or enacting some laws to completely eradicate the pest. That is the main crux of this legal control. Now we can see some important examples of pest that was accidentally introduced into India. The first one is called as a pink bollworm. It's a very dangerous pest in cotton. So the name is Pycnospora gossipilla. And second one is woolly aphid of apple. This is a very famous example you have seen. This is called as Eriosoma lanigerum. It is introduced from China or from European countries in the year 1889. And other important pest is Sanjo scale. This is the other important pest. It is introduced from China. It is a Quadraspiratus perniciosus. And other important pest in vegetable, it is called as a diamond back moth, Protella celestilla. If we see this pest, it is infecting most of the cruciferous vegetable crop. It's a very important pest. It also introduced from the year in 1914. And the list keep on extending. The important pest is cotton cushion scale. It was introduced from Australia in the year 1928, Iceria purchasei. And other important pest is potato tuber moth. If you go to Metropolitan or if you go to Ooty, the important pest is this potato tuber moth. It was introduced from Italy in the year 1937, Thorimoria operculella. And other important pest is bunchy type of banana. It's a viral disease. It was introduced from Sri Lanka in the year 1940. And other important is golden nematode. It's a golden nematode of potato, Globodira, in the year 1961. And the important pest is subabul psyllid from, it's also from foreign country. It was introduced in the year 1988. Heteropsilla cubana, the sucking pest. And other important pest in plantation crop is coffee berry borer. It was introduced from Sri Lanka. The name is Hypothenemus hampi. It's a very important and key pest in coffee. It was introduced from Sri Lanka. Similarly, from Sri Lanka, other important pest introduced was this spiraling whitefly. It is called as Alliodicus dispersus. It was introduced in the year 1993, followed by coconut areophid mite. It was introduced from Sri Lanka in the year 1997, Assyria gronensis. So the list is keep on extending. If you take example of today's scenario, the pests like Tuta absoluta and papaya mealybug. So these are the pests. They are called these are called as exotic pests or pests of foreign origin. They were introduced into the country accidentally. So these are some of the examples. We are going to see this thing in next. Now we going to see different types of chronological events in legal control methods. First one is called as a foreign pest. What are the foreign pests India is free? If you see, there are 4 types of pests where now there is no occurrence of pests in India. First one is called as a Mediterranean fruit fly. It is called as a Sanitary capita. This fruit fly is not found in India. So this is the pest in Mediterranean countries. If we go to Mediterranean countries, this is the very important pest causing damage to most of the Mediterranean fruit crops. It is called as Sanitary capita. And followed by grapevine phylloxera. These pests are not found in India. And other important pest in cotton is called as cotton boll weevil. Its name is Anthronomus grandis. This is also not found in India. And the other important pest is the codling moth of apple. It is called as Cydia pomonera. So these 4 pests are not found in India. So these are pests of foreign but not found in India. And coming to the other important topic is plant quarantine. So plant quarantine is very important. In this case, the meaning of the plant quarantine is legal restriction. That means you have to legally impose some law to prevent the movement of plant materials. That calls a legal restriction on movement of plant materials. That is between countries or between states or between states within the country. So they are imposing some rules and regulation to prevent the infested plant material from moving from one place to other place. It's called as plant quarantine. That means the legal restriction on movement of plant materials or to limit or to prevent the introduction of spread of pest and disease in areas of no existence. That means when there is an area which is free from any insect and pests, we are imposing some rules and regulation for plant materials to move from the infected place to non-infected place. So this is the meaning. Legal restriction on movement of plant materials are to limit or to prevent the introduction of spread of pest and disease in areas of no existence. That is a very, very important thing, that by imposing some plant quarantine laws. Quarantine generally means 40. That means 40. 40 means the isolation to prevent the spread of infection. If you isolate the plant material, if I isolate any infected person for 40 days, so that person will get cured. That is the meaning for a quarantine. The first quarantine was imposed from in the place in Mumbai. That's the first quarantine was imposed. And coming to the other important thing is the pest legislation. There are, if you take the US, the first legislation was imposed in the year 1905. It is called as the Federal Insect Pest Act. This is the first quarantine act of US against Sanchez scale. This is the first quarantine act was imposed in US to prevent the movement of the Sanchez scale from one state to other state. So it was imposed in the year 1905. It was followed by in the year 1912. US Plant Quarantine Act was enacted. This is the happening in the US. 1905, the Federal Insect Pest Act, the first quarantine act of US, followed by 1912, US Plant Quarantine Act. If we come to the India, the first act was in 1914. It is called as a Destructive Insect Pest Act of India. It is called as a DIPA. So this is the Destructive Insect Pest Act of India. This is the first act enacted in India. Followed by in the year 1919, Madras Against the Pest and Disease Act was enacted in the year 1919. In the year 1968, we all know the Insecticide Act was enacted in India. In 1971, the Insect Rule was framed in 1971. In 2003, Plant Quarantine Order was enacted, and it was in rule today also. Now we are going to see different classes of quarantine. It is classified into 1, 2, 3 and 4 types we are going to see. First one is called as foreign quarantine. Foreign quarantine means we are enacting some rules and regulations to prevent the entry of foreign pests entering into a country. That is called as a foreign quarantine. That means legislation to prevent the introduction of new pests and disease and weeds from the foreign countries. That is called as a foreign quarantine. Actually, in this foreign quarantine, this plant quarantine and inspection will be done at different centers. That means the plant quarantine inspection and treatment will be done at different airports, different seaports, and different land frontiers. We are doing these treatments. Before this particular commodity entering into the country, we are going for some kind of treatment. First, we are going for inspection. Then we are going for treating if anything found to be infested by any insects, we are going to treat by treating with some chemical compounds. That is called as a plant quarantine inspection and treatments. So these plant quarantine and inspection treatments will be done by the quarantine officials. So this plant quarantine and inspection treatment will be done at different places. For example, if you take seaports, the main important seaport is Mumbai, Kolkata, Cochin, even Chennai, Tuticorin, and Rameswaram, Bhavnagar, and Visakhapatnam. So in these ports, these plant quarantine officials will take care of this the product from the foreign country, and they are going for a thorough inspection. If anything found to be, if any insect is found to be in the products, they will go for treatment, going for treating this particular commodity. Similarly, if you come to the airports, important airports like Mumbai, Kolkata, Chennai, Trichy, and New Delhi, they are going for this kind of treatments. In case of land frontiers are nothing but the borders of Indian subcontinent. Like if you go to land frontier like Atari-Wagah border, it is important border in western part of our country. It is called as Atari-Wagah border. and Amistar, even Bungan, it is in West Bengal, it's bordering the Bangladesh. So these also, here also, this plan, quarantine, inspection and treatment will be done. Similarly, similarly the import of parcels, it will be highly restricted. It will be highly prohibited by the plant quarantine officials, except if any scientist, if he requires some plant materials in the foreign country, it is exemption. Remaining, the import of any parcel is highly prohibited. Similarly, import of a plant material also, it will be highly prohibited, except for scientists for doing some research. And also, the important thing is, any material which is imported from the foreign country, it should accompany the phytosanitary certificate from the country of origin. This is very, very important. Without this certificate, they won't allow the material to come into the country. So it's very, very important. It is called as a phytosanitary certificate. It will be issued by the country of origin. And coming to the other important topic is phytosanitary certificate. Who will issue this phytosanitary certificate? Mostly the state entomologists or pathologists. So they, after thorough inspection, they will issue the phytosanitary certificate. They are obliged, they are the important person to issue the certificate by the state entomologist or state pathologist. Why we are going for this phytosanitary certificate means to impose some restriction. For example, sugarcane seeds are restricted to coming to India, because when we are importing the sugarcane seeds from the foreign country, like especially from West Indies, in West Indies the important pest is sugar weevil. So this sugar weevil will come to India and cause damage. So that's why they are imposing restriction on the importation of sugarcane seeds. Similarly, coffee seeds are highly restricted, because the foreign countries, the coffee seeds are infected by the coffee berry borer. So we are restricting the importation of coffee seeds. Similarly, cotton seeds. Cotton seeds, why we are restricting means cotton boll weevil. Cotton boll weevil in the US, it's a biggest threat to the cotton industry. So we are in our country, we don't have the cotton seeds, the boll weevil. So we are imposing severe restrictions to the importation of these cotton seeds. And also we are restricting some product like export of this pepper, cardamom, and tamarind. Also we are restricting because of this some restrictions on different crops. And coming to the other important topic is domestic quarantine. That means the quarantine within the parts of our country, within the states, from Tamil Nadu to Kerala, from Kerala to Maharashtra. So within the states we are imposing some restrictions. For example, in 1943, this Iceria purchase is important pest. It is found, it is a foreign pest which was found in the wattle trees of Nilgiris and Kodaikanal. So what happened? The quarantine station which is located at Mettupalayam and Nilgiris, in Godalur Nilgiris, Sinbanur and Kodaikanal, they are not allowing the wattle trees from Kodaikanal to other parts of the country, because of not to contain the pest, we are restricting the movement of the wattle tree from Kodaikanal and from Nilgiri area. So this quarantine station will take care of this thing by restricting the movement of wattle trees. Similarly, the banana from Palani Hills, because we all know this hill banana is highly affected by the banana bunchita virus. So we are restricting the movement of banana from the Palani Hills in order to prevent the spread of banana bunchita virus to the other parts of the country. The important vector is this black aphid, Pentalonia nigra. So in order to prevent the movement of banana to other country, to other places of Tamil Nadu, other places of our country, we are imposing some restriction. It is called as a domestic quarantine. That means within the country, the movement of these affected plant parts from one place to other place. And coming to the legislation, why we are going for legislation means to effective. This is the effective measures to prevent the spread of pests. If you don't legislate, if you don't go for any laws, the pests will move from one place to other place. So when you are imposing some laws, we can able to restrict the movement of insect pests. For example, if you take cotton stem weevil, it is in the Cambodia cotton in 1913, they identified the cotton stem weevil. So we are imposing some rules or imposing some laws to the farming community. That means we have to destroy the crop in the month of August 1. That means the previous crop result should be completely destroyed, and you have to go for next crop in the month of September 1. That means we are making the pest not getting the host. We are making the pest to deprive the host. That means the particular cotton stem weevil won't find the host. It will be eradicated. So this is the rules. By enacting some rules, we are imposing some rules to prevent the spread of the pest. Similarly, if you take the another important pest is in groundnut, red eye caterpillar is a very important pest. Amsacta albicega in the year 1930. In this case, what happened? We are asking the farmers, to the government, we are enacting some rules and regulations by giving some important IP model. That means summer ploughing is highly essential for to prevent the spread of red eye caterpillar. Similarly, you have to remove the crop residue and also bonfire. Like a community approach also, we are asking the farmers to follow. So by enacting some rules and regulations, we can able to control the pest. And another example is stem borer of coffee. That means the stem borer of coffee is a very important pest. Xylotrichus, the important pest of coffee. It was identified in the 1946. We are asking the farmers of Ercot, Nilgiris, and other parts of the Kodaikanal, where the farmers they have to remove the infested plant pots in the month of December, 15th of December. We have to destroy the complete plants. We have to destroy. Otherwise, the plants, the pest cycle will keep on moving. So we have to remove and destroy the infested plant pots of coffee to prevent the infestation of stem borer, coffee stem borer. So by enacting some rules and regulations, so they will follow accordingly. The pest will be eradicated. Now we are going to see the important act which was enacted in India is Insecticide Act 1968. The main motto of this act is it was implemented in the year 1971 in the name of Insecticide Rules 1971. Actually, this is a safety-oriented legislation. This is a very, very important act. So, this particular act which regulate the import of insecticides or manufacture of insecticides or even the storage of insecticides, transport, sale and distribution of insecticides, and also the use of insecticides to prevent risk to human or animals. So, this is the main thing. This particular act will regulate these are all things like import, manufacture, storage, transport, sale, distribution and use of insecticides to prevent risk to human and animals. So, these are the important things in Insecticide Act 1968. It was implemented in 1971 as Insecticide Rules 1971. And coming to the other important thing is regulatory provisions. What are the important regulatory provisions? Why this act is enacted? That means for manufacturing of any insecticides or any pesticides, the compulsory registration is very, very must. The licensing, inspection, drawal and analysis of sample, even detention, seizure, confiscation of stocks, even suspension and cancellation of license comes under the regulatory provisions. So, these are the provisions under the Insecticide Acts. Coming to the statutory bodies, there are two bodies. One is called as Central Insecticide Board. It comprises of 28 members. The chairman of this board is DG, Director General of Health Services, is the chairman of this Central Insecticide Board. And other one is called as a registration committee. So, in this registration committee, the chairman is DDG, that means Deputy Director General Crop Science under the ICR.
எங்களோட வீடியோஸ் உங்களுக்கு பிடிச்சிருந்தா லைக் பண்ணுங்க, ஷேர் பண்ணுங்க, கமெண்ட் பண்ணுங்க, மறந்துடாம சப்ஸ்கிரைப் பண்ணிட்டு கூடவே இருக்க பெல் ஐகானை கிளிக் பண்ணிடுங்க. so that எங்களோட வீடியோஸ் உங்களுக்கு மிஸ் ஆகாம வந்துட்டே இருக்கும்.
Future Vision Study Center,
SKS Hospital Road, opposite to Hotel Lakshmi Prakash, near New Bus Stand, Salem.
Cell 90420 30163.